When I was 19, the summer after my freshman year of college, I got a job as a front desk receptionist at a local Hampton Inn and Suites hotel. The pay wasn't great, but let's just say it beat working at a fast food restaurant or some other bottom of the barrel job. My job basically consisted of checking in guests, taking reservations, answering questions for guests, and just keeping the front desk area clean. Nothing strange happened to me on the job until one evening about 5 weeks into the summer. I was in the back room behind the counter opening up boxes of VIP snacks. I think they were Lorna Doone cookies or something, I can't remember. I was the only one working the front desk that night, as was often the case since we didn't get that many guests in the small town I lived in. Because of that, whenever I was in the back room, I would have to constantly check the camera on the wall to see if anyone was waiting at the front desk. I looked up from the box I was cutting open momentarily to check the camera and didn't see anything, so I looked down, but then I did a double take as I noticed something in the far corner of the camera I was not expecting to see. It looked like a person sitting in the lounge/breakfast area with their back to me. I thought it was a little strange since I knew there weren't that many guests at the hotel and the actual breakfast buffet was closed in the evening, but I didn't think much of it and I went back to what I was doing. A few minutes later, I had completely forgotten about it when I suddenly heard a loud clicking sound, followed by the sound of doors being slid open. I immediately associated it with the sound of the breakfast buffet doors, which remained locked except during breakfast hours, being slid open. When I looked up at the camera, I realized I was right. I also noticed that the man I had previously seen was gone, meaning he had to have been the one who somehow opened these doors, but it was too dark inside the buffet area to see much through the camera. I began making my way toward the buffet, but I stopped dead in my tracks when the light flooding in from the lounge area provided just enough light to see what I was sure was someone crouched down behind the buffet counter. It had to be him. He was obviously hiding. I tried to pretend like I didn't notice him by bending down as if I had just gone over to pick something up off the floor, when really my heart was beating out of my chest. I turned around and walked casually back to the front desk, where I went to the back room and immediately dialed my manager, who then told me to call the police, as there was surprisingly nobody she could send over to help. I called 911, and the whole time I was waiting for the police to arrive, I was watching the camera praying nobody would come out of the dark buffet area. Surprisingly, no one did. And to my shock, when police arrived and I escorted them to the area I had seen the man, there was no sign of him anywhere. The police checked the kitchen as well, but there was no sign of him there either, so they told me he probably just left through the back door sometime after I saw him. There wasn't much else they could do. It's not like I was going to have them search the entire hotel. After that, nothing out of the ordinary ever happened to me on that job, but nevertheless, I quit a few months later. A few weeks ago, from the time I'm writing this, my grandparents asked me to take care of their dogs while they went on vacation for a week. They wanted me to walk them twice a day, feed them, and clean up after them when they made a mess. And they were paying me $300 for the week, so I couldn't complain. It was the middle of summer and I was only 14, so I didn't have a dog. My grandparents have a massive house with like 8 bedrooms, and they always have tons of snacks at their house for me and my siblings. So one night, about halfway through the week, after a lot of nagging, I convinced my parents to let me stay at their house by myself for a night. I went over to their house at like 4 in the afternoon, and after walking their dogs and feeding them, I went downstairs and plugged in my Xbox into their huge TV and started playing Call of Duty or something, I can't remember. All I remember is the moment I was playing the game and I heard a distinct thump come from upstairs. I paused the game with my heart racing because both of the dogs were downstairs with me and there was nothing I could think of that would have made that sound other than an animal or, heaven forbid, a person. It honestly sounded like someone had accidentally knocked a pile of books off of the table or something. But for whatever reason, the dogs didn't even seem interested by the noise, as they only momentarily perked up before going back to sleep on the floor. I got off the couch and crept over to the staircase, trying to make as little noise as possible, I guess in hopes that whoever or whatever made that noise didn't hear me. I stood there for what felt like hours, waiting to hear another sound, but I never did, so I made my way up the stairs as quietly as possible. When I made it to the top of the stairs and scanned the immediate area around me, as well as what I could see from where I was of the dining room, kitchen, and living room, I saw nothing. Just then, though, I picked up on a low, quiet, but constant sound coming from what I thought was the living room. It took my brain a good 10 seconds to register that the sound I was hearing was breathing. When I realized this, it felt like my heart fell out of my chest as I ran towards the front door of the house so fast I'm surprised I didn't trip on my way out. Any attempt to be inconspicuous was now out the window as I frantically opened the door that, to my shock, was already unlocked. Stupid me must have forgotten to lock it when I came home with the dogs, so the intruder obviously just walked right in without me even noticing. As I ran past the giant picture window that looks into the living room, out of the corner of my eye, I got the briefest glimpse of a huge, intimidating figure standing at the window, which only made me run all the more quickly all the way down the street until the house was practically out of sight. Only then did I feel safe and called the police to report the intruder. I was relieved beyond belief when I saw the comforting blue and red lights and heard the sirens of multiple police cars making their way down the street from the opposite end, and I ran back to the house to greet them. When they entered, they apparently found the intruder in the same place as I had seen him, standing and looking out the big window. The intruder was a huge guy. I'm not even exaggerating when I say he could have been 7 feet tall, and he looked completely deranged. There was something seriously wrong with that man, and I'm just glad that I got out of the house when I did, that nothing was stolen, and that my grandparents' dogs were fine. When I was in high school, my friends and I were pretty mischievous, and we would often do stupid, reckless things just for the hell of it. Surprisingly, we would rarely get caught. One day during the 7th and final period of the school day on a cold Friday in November, my friends, who I'll refer to as A, B, and C for privacy reasons, who were in the same class as me for that period, got the bright idea of breaking into the old abandoned shopping mall on the other side of town to do some urban exploration. I was honestly against the idea at first, mainly because it was in an area with quite a bit of traffic, so the risk of getting busted was higher than normal. But eventually they talked me into it. We met in the back parking lot of the mall after dark. We had to park far away and walk to be less suspicious. We began walking around the perimeter of the mall looking for broken windows or unlocked doors, I guess, and to our surprise, the first door B tried to opened with ease. We figured there had probably been other teens just like us who had gone to explore the mall, and this door just happened to be the port of entry over the years. So we all made our way inside, and I have to admit it was scary as hell in there. There wasn't a single light on inside, as I expected, and when he shined his heavy-duty flashlight he had brought with him around the area, we realized we were in a large atrium-style room with old, dilapidated escalators in the center and balconies on each floor. We figured it probably used to be a Sears or Macy's or some kind of department store based on their appearance. C suggested we explore the upper floors, and against my better judgment, I joined the rest in making our way up one of the old escalators, which I honestly felt like would collapse under our feet at any moment. When we got upstairs, A once again shined his flashlight around, and we were greeted with the sight of long, empty clothing racks and torn-up carpeting that revealed the bare linoleum flooring beneath. We were getting ready to make our way toward what I think was the west end of the store when we were all startled by a sliding sound, followed by an abrupt slamming sound coming from the complete opposite end of the store. It sounded like a file cabinet being shut or something, but before A could shine his flashlight over there to see what it was, B held out his arm to stop him, and I think he was thinking the exact same thing I was, that there was no way we were going to try and find out who or what the hell could have possibly made that noise. I whispered to my friends to run, and as we started quickly shuffling down the narrow escalator, we were all horrified to hear manic footsteps approaching fast from across the store. I was in front, so I literally started bounding down the escalator like a madman, taking at least 4 steps at a time, and C even started sliding down the rubber handrail. Once we reached the bottom, we all took a glimpse up the escalator and full-on sprinted out the way we came when A shined his flashlight up in the direction of the sounds to reveal a tall old woman scampering down the stairs with a crazed look in her eyes, long gray hair, and an extremely disheveled, even deformed face. It was honestly something straight out of a horror movie, and needless to say, it was a scarring sight for all of us, and I don't think any of us expected the person to actually look as downright terrifying as this woman did. We ran out of that mall and straight to our cars, and we didn't even look back once. We didn't report to the police for fear of getting caught, I guess, which looking back was a stupid move. And I'm just grateful that my friends and I escaped with our lives that night.